Welcome to the Communication Diva Podcast, episode 105. It's Thursday, December 8, and in this episode, the Communication Diva discusses gift giving in the workplace during the holidays. What Jenn does not cover in this podcast is what to do with that special gift you've been given at work. You know the one I mean. The mug that bears a striking resemblance to the other 11 mugs you received in previous years. Or that carved jade elephant tea light holder. Or what about those socks warmed with batteries? Here's my tip. When you drop that gift off at a thrift store donation box, make sure it's in a town far enough away that the generous gift giver doesn't accidentally stumble upon it when they're in there 3 months from now. Wow, that was embarrassing.
Happy holidays! This is Jenn Swanson, and I'd like to welcome you to the 105th episode of the Communication Diva Podcast. This is the show that helps you to get the job, love your work, and advance your career. Well, it's December, and we're about to be hit with a snowstorm, or at least a west coast of Canada version of a snowstorm, which is dramatic for us because we aren't used to it, and everyone pretty much panics, and schools get closed, and it's quite amusing to people in the eastern or even in the prairie regions of the country. You know, they sort of look at us with amusement or bemusement, perhaps. But we do find even a little bit of snow a problem because we don't have the equipment for it, and we really aren't used to it. So it's quite something. I heard today that the town I live in has completely run out of that ice melt salt stuff. But anyway, I'm really glad that you can't see me today because I am sitting in my home office completely dressed in as many layers as I can with a hat on because it's really cold. Anyhow, speaking of offices, that's today's topic. Holiday gift giving in the office or the workplace. What to do, what not to do, how to avoid a faux pas, and what is generally considered safe practice. So one of the best things to find out about your workplace, especially if you're new to that office or that workplace, is whether or not there is a policy around gift giving. And if there is, find out what it says. If there isn't a policy, then ask about past practices. What usually happens around the holiday times as far as gift giving goes? And it's okay to ask that. Ask what's expected. And, you know, it's probably a little bit late now. It's probably would have been a better thing to ask earlier. Maybe you're already in the throes of it. But if it hasn't happened yet, we're still only at the 8th of December, then it might be helpful to ask, you know, what is considered to be expected and what has happened in the past. And some workplaces actually discourage gift exchanging, which saves you all the trouble. Other workplaces have long-standing traditions that would be really helpful for you to know about. So it's a good idea to ask. It's good to find out because you don't want to embarrass yourself by being the only one who does or doesn't give a gift because you didn't know what the tradition or the policy was. And you also don't want to go over the top or conversely appear to be really ungenerous. So asking, there's nothing wrong with asking that question. If there is no clear policy or tradition, then start with asking yourself this question: why do I want to give these people gifts? In other words, what's my motivation? Is it because you want to share some holiday cheer, or you want to show your coworkers some appreciation? Those are good reasons. Are you doing it because you feel guilty and because you don't want to feel left out? Are you trying to be in good favor, score points? Because that's a terrible reason to give a gift, really, if you have that kind of a motivation. So I'm just asking, what is your motivation? That's a really good place to start. If your answer is that you're doing it to spread some holiday cheer or to show some appreciation, to share the love, or even because that's what everyone does and you want to feel part of the group, then that's perfectly okay. You also don't need to feel obligated ever. You can simply write a card to each person with an expression of thanks or appreciation. And you can, if you feel that you have to justify yourself, which you don't, you can simply say it's not in your budget this year. And try not to feel badly about it. It's not meant to be an exercise. This whole gift-giving thing is not meant to be an exercise that makes people feel bad. Quite the opposite. So if honestly you're not able to give gifts, it's not comfortable or feasible for you to do that, then, being flat out honest is probably the best option. If you are going to go ahead and give gifts, I'm going to offer you 9 tips to keep in mind. And just as an aside, have you noticed that I really like odd numbers? I don't know why, but I do all my list items as 7 or 9 or 11. I don't know. I just noticed that, but I often will use an odd number. So I have 9 tips for you today. All right. The first tip is to limit the amount, or to find out if there already is an office gift exchange limit, financial limit, I mean. And if there is one, then stick to it. So make sure you aren't wildly over the limit or wildly under the limit. One of those scenarios will embarrass the person receiving the gift, and it might also be perceived as showing off or that you have some other kind of motivation. And the other scenario will make you look stingy or maybe even lazy. So if the limit is $20 or $30, stick to that limit. Don't bring in a $60 gift or a $6 gift, right? So try and stick to approximately that suggested cost. That's number 1. Number 2 is see if drawing names is an option. That way everyone gets one nice gift. And in the end, it usually ends up being less expensive and far less time consuming if you get to choose someone's name and buy them a gift. And then you might be able to find out, well, what is it that they really like or appreciate or that they need, rather than just getting everyone something smaller. That's a really good option. And if it's a possibility, if you've been in your office for a while, it might be something you can suggest. Hey, instead of everybody giving everybody, a bag of, whatever goodies, let's go together and pick names and have one gift exchange. And if people want to opt out, then they can. So that's an idea. Some offices do the Secret Santa game, and that might is a similar thing to drawing names, because usually you have one person that you are being Secret Santa to, but you might want to ask what the limit is and what the expectations are for that activity as well before you begin. Number 3 is pool what you all would have spent on gifts with each other for each other and make a donation to the food bank or to the local shelter or to another charitable cause. There are so many projects, projects, for example, that supply school supplies to children who don't have them, or that provide clean water to a community, or buy a pair of new shoes for a child who doesn't have a pair of new shoes. Those kinds of things. There are countless ways you can do something for others as a group and skip giving each other more stuff that you don't want and you don't need. There are all sorts of opportunities and ways that you could do that. You could go together and buy a goat for a village. There are many, many of these charitable ideas that really do good work. Transition houses and all sorts of places, innumerable places that you could find and go together, and all of those $20 would add up, or all of those $30 gifts would add up into something substantial that might actually make a difference in someone's life. So that's an idea as well, as a group, as a collective. That's number 3. Number 4, when you do give gifts, make sure that if you're giving a gift to each person, each of your coworkers, make sure you keep them non-personal. So lots of people have allergies and sensitivities. So personal body products and perfumes, things like shaving items, that might be nice if you're giving to your sister or your brother, but to your coworker, it might be a little bit too intimate, and it might induce allergies and more likely awkwardness. So be careful about giving things that are too, for that close personal use, like shaving items, might be a little bit too intimate for an office gift giving exchange. So think about that a little bit. Stay away from religious items, because not everyone in your office will necessarily celebrate Christmas or will not necessarily celebrate the religious aspects of Christmas. So that cute nativity scene might be cute to you if you happen to be Christian and be open to that, but it might be seen as inappropriate and unwelcome to someone who doesn't practice Christianity. So be careful with some of the religious symbols in your gift giving. Number 5, be aware of what message you are sending with the gift. Jewelry is often too personal and might be taken to be romantic in certain circumstances where you don't intend it to be. So be careful of that. Christmas light-up boxer shorts might be funny to give to your brother, but probably not for your cubicle neighbor in the workplace. So be careful about what message you're sending or potentially sending. If you're sending flowers and you're a man sending to a woman or a woman sending to a man, it doesn't even matter. But if it's in any way perceived as could be romantic, don't send roses. Send a poinsettia, because roses are generally a sign of love. So send something different. And just be careful of the messages that your gift might be sending, even unintentionally. Number 6, on that same note, just stay away from funny. It might not go over very well. Gag gifts and jokes don't always translate well and can be offensive, because we actually all have different ideas about what's funny and what isn't. And you don't want to cause conflict by hurting somebody's feelings or embarrassing them. Or you think it's hilarious, they open it and they don't even smile. It could be completely embarrassing for you. So just stay away from trying to be amusing or funny, and especially be careful of offending somebody with something like that. So that was number 6. Number 7 is be careful about giving a gift to a boss or a supervisor. If you're giving everyone something and your boss gets exactly the same thing, then that's okay. But giving to your boss is not always necessary or even recommended. Sometimes it's actually discouraged. It might look like you're trying to gain favor or butter up your boss. If the group decides to join together and get a group gift, then that's okay. You don't have to participate in that. Don't feel obligated, but you can if you like. And I remember working at the hospital, and we would sometimes go in together and get one of our managers something, depending on who it was and who the manager was and how much we liked the manager. But it isn't expected, and it is often the case that managers and supervisors will give gifts down the chain of authority, but it is not expected that workers give their supervisors or their bosses gifts. And of course, it entirely depends on the workplace that you're in and how that workplace functions. I can't think of the word I want to say right now, but the culture, that's it, the culture of your workplace. As to whether or not your boss is sort of one of the workers and gets the same gift as everyone else, or if they're a little bit elevated in status as far as that goes. So be careful about that. And if you do decide to go together and get a group gift, then you might do something like get movie passes or get a gift certificate to a favorite restaurant, or get tickets from a ticket seller outlet like Ticketmaster or something, so the boss can choose an event to go to. Maybe a family pass if the boss has a family pass to the zoo or the science center, or some family attraction, an aquarium, that kind of thing. I'm a huge fan of giving experiences as gifts rather than giving things, which is why I think these are really, really great ideas. I know an elementary school teacher who he's a music teacher, and he's taught all 4 of our kids, and he puts on a grand, amazing musical every couple of years. And a group of parents got together and gave him a gift certificate to the ticket seller. And we actually ran into him unknowingly. All of a sudden we turned around and there he was when we went to a rock concert. And there he was, because he was enjoying his gift from the parents of his group of students. So that's a wonderful kind of a gift. One year when I was teaching, a group of my students got together and gave me a spa gift certificate. And I tell you, I was thrilled. It was wonderful. So a group gift like that, where you can pool together and get something really nice, is appropriate. And again, often an experience is a wonderful way to go, rather than a thing, right, that the person may or may not appreciate. Number 8, if you are given a gift and didn't have one to give that person in return, don't feel that you have to return the favor. It might be that someone unexpected in your office or your workplace brings you a gift. Try not to feel like you have to return something, because that just seems like a reaction, A really nicely written thank you card or a really prompt email of thanks is sufficient. A handwritten thank you card is much nicer. To thank them for the time and the effort and for giving you a gift is more genuine than, running out and buying something for this unexpected gift giver in return. That's not why they gave you the gift in the first place. They weren't expecting you to return a gift, so don't feel like you're obligated. Number 9, when in doubt, give food. I'm a huge fan also of giving consumables. If I know the person loves to barbecue, I will go out and find a fancy bottle of gourmet barbecue sauce. And depending on, the limit of the gift to give, I might find a little book of barbecue recipes or something. Home-baked or artisanal cookies and treats are always a safe bet, as long as you check for allergies and intolerances for the person first. I have a gluten sensitivity and a nut allergy, and if the person doesn't really know me that well, then sometimes I'll be given something and I'll know, I'll give it ends up going to the rest of my family to enjoy because I can't enjoy it. But it's much more meaningful if someone gives me something that I can actually eat and enjoy. What about a basket of lovely TV watching or sitting around the fire at home snack basket, like a basket full of antipasto and crackers and cheese and pickles and fancy stuff. That would be nice. Specialty chocolates, gifts of coffee or fancy tea, depending if they're a coffee or tea drinker, jams and preserves. All those things are lovely and things that people often won't buy for themselves, treats, and you eat them up and then they're gone and you don't have to dust them. So I think they're a great gift idea. Maybe there is a coffee shop near your workplace that offers gift cards, and you could get the person a gift card that would allow them to pop down on their lunch break or their coffee break and enjoy a coffee. Gift cards are always a good option, as people can use them to get what they want. So gift cards to a bookstore or gift cards to a music store for a music buff, or to an online shopping place like Amazon or iTunes. Those kinds of things are often welcome. We always give our girls' piano teacher a gift certificate to her favorite coffee chain, and we know that she very much appreciates that gift. So those kinds of things. Gift cards are often a wonderful and easy way to thank and appreciate the people that you work with. So office gift giving doesn't have to be daunting. It can be fun, and it can be a lovely way to appreciate the people that you spend a lot of your life with. Honestly, sometimes you spend more time with the people you work with than you do with your family and friends. So the gift giving can be a way to bring people a little bit closer together in the workplace, and it doesn't have to be a big headache if you follow some of these tips. I'm going to go now so I can get this published before the snow flies. If you found this to be useful, we would love you to review it on iTunes under the Communication Diva podcast. The more reviews on iTunes, the more people will find us and be able to benefit. If you've got a student or a new employee in your life, consider giving them a copy of my book, What They See, How to Stand Out and Shine in Your New Job. This book can be ordered from Amazon.com and Amazon.ca, and it's full of practical and actionable advice on how to navigate the first 3 months of a new job. So it's great for high school students, for college grads, anybody who is entering a new job or possibly entering a new job in the future. There's a lot of really good information. It's only a couple of 100 pages, so it's a quick read. It's got a little bit of humor in it, and it makes a good stocking stuffer. All right, well, until next time, this is Jen. Happy gift giving.